As the team moves forward with the next stage of events, you've managed to speak with Rev and Rev. To be perfectly honest, their technical names are Reeve and Rev, because capital E, lowercase e, but that's not really important right now. After inquiring about a few things, mainly suggesting they may or may not be accomplices to trafficking things underneath your kingdom, they weren't really happy about that without any credible evidence, and to be fair, they were also just blatantly rude to you guys to begin with, talking in circles, more or less wasting your time. You can tell that both of them are able to read the situation, but at the exact same time, later on you did discern, at least Aster right now holds this information, that one of them was basically ordered to keep you occupied for a while. Just mess with you in a way. That person is capital E. So things went on, and wanting to make sure that they weren't responsible, you basically kept them under lock and key until these was discerned. Trying to keep their own company afloat while they're gone, requested if they could send a message to be sent out. You said, sure, but we need to examine it just in case, or something along the lines. Not with that attitude. That's just me giving attitude. You're more than welcome to read it as they finalize it. But before that happens, you send them away to deal with that information and spoke with lowercase e. Rev. Speaking with her about the current situation, it seems that her counterpart was more or less meant to talk around you, just make you frustrated, not really helping you out. At the exact same time, they were ordered to by their, not government, but definitely someone of high power within their government. Someone that basically funds their pocket. They may or may not know who it is. The person that you were speaking with, Aster, doesn't know who it is, as all contact with them goes through Big E. So getting this information here and there, and maybe trying to turn Little E into a turncoat, honestly, potentially giving her a better life, since it's not a great one that they currently have. Other than financially stable right now and making sure that their family is safe, it is also underneath kind of a threat, since if she doesn't do this work, they are basically demoted down to the very bottom of society. You sent them away into a more, I wouldn't call it a jail cell, but at the exact same time, it is a housing area for now. Speaking with Thane, after this, you spoke about a few things that I am going to be perfectly honest, I don't fully remember. If one of you can, other than, arguing about maybe stealing the recording device, or at least keeping onto it, I don't remember much else about what happened there. My apologies. Alpani went to go investigate a few things, got a good amount of information on their part, and returned here to potentially disclose a few things here and there. And your fourth partner, Yoko, honestly trained, fought, and fought again, got their own information. If they don't remember, that's perfectly fine if you don't remember. But you got that basically the naval fleet is run by the Monarch, the aerial fleet by the Matriarch, and the Mystics controls the land, is the best way to describe it. But troopers, I don't know what to call them. I'm going to say soldiers. You find yourselves in this position before heading out to do anything else. Alpani, you came here for a reason. I just don't remember the reason. But after getting the information, you came here for a specific reason. I'm gonna I'm not gonna lie. In my notes, it just says remind Alpani that she came here for answers or to direct people. I probably should have been clear in my notes.
Yeah, and I am struggling to find mine. Well, I know I met with one of the members of the Gold Ring. Oh, Night Owls. I need to
Yes.
talk to Aster about the Night Owls.
Okay. Well, Aster is there before, jettisoning out to do whatever he may with a bottle of wine and pretty flowers.
It's a meal. It's not flowers. It's just a meal.
Flower soup.
Why are you eating flowers?
It's to help. It's to help the super leprosy.
Well, I figured Alfani would be the one to eat the flowers.
I forgot it was a meal. In my notes, it just says Aster's coming to prisoner with gifts. I assume flowers.
Oh, right. You're supposed to be showing, kindness and whatever.
Flattery, basically. But yeah, Alpani, you came here. Thane is also here. Aster's here. The only one missing is currently Yoko, who is currently at a bar, having a good time. Not really drinking, just making money, honestly.
Well, like I said, I can't find my notes right now. I don't know what happened to them. They're just gone. So I'm trying to remember what the discussion about the Night Owls was.
Oh, okay. Night Owls.
So I know the one member of the Gold Ring was telling me about the Night Owls and having them be involved with. I just can't remember what it was.
Night Owls here. Okay. I don't know if it was part of the conversation. Unfortunately, it's been 2 weeks since we played.
Right.
According to my notes, I've told you that currently Aster is working with them in a more or less, if allowed, then allowed to work. If not allowed to work. And more or less, they've agreed to that on terms of their own basis. Just basically means so long as they don't break the law, which so far they haven't. It also states in my notes that I've told you they are currently an overarching group in the area that holds a lot of sway and trafficking and underground market situation. Not to say that they don't get their hands dirty, just to say that they are involved in that situation. Could be bad, could be good, not entirely sure, but people have gone missing and presumed dead, and it's possible that they might be related.
Oh, it was to figure out the smuggling thing. What is being smuggled on the ship?
Right.
Because we figured between Alpani and the other person, they discussed about talking to them.
Okay.
And so I guess Alpani would probably make this her moment to talk to Aster about it. So.
Yeah. You also spoke with Jean about having the merchants try to help out as much as possible. And he did state so long as Aster doesn't cause any trouble for the merchants, they should more or less agree to terms.
Yeah. So I guess Alpine is just going to approach Aster. Aster, I need to ask you a couple things. Or should I say talk about them?
Aster currently in the kitchen waiting on the chef to prepare a nice meal. Assumedly.
Yeah.
Very well. Is it somewhere that we must go privately for?
Probably.
I'll just step into a guest room.
You go into the basic waiting room again. This is honestly the most secure room now. Uh, you can close the door. You can invite Thane in or out. It's entirely up to you. Although he's not a vampire, he can go through the threshold if he chooses to.
It's up to him. It's not really a secret amongst our group. It's more just keeping the information away from general populace.
Yeah.
Anyway, Aster, I've been in touch with some people about everything that's going on. As a suggestion, perhaps look into the Night Owls to see if they might know what is being smuggled into the Underdark. They might have an idea.
What makes you think this?
They're involved in some businesses that deal with that. Even if they're not involved in this, they might know information. And that's going to be our biggest thing we need. So, because I would rather us be very well prepared for whatever might be smuggled in there, whether it be magical items, soldiers, whatever.
Those in the room can go ahead and roll for me history. It's not a tough check, but just to remind you guys of what you already know about them.
Haha! It's not a tough check, is it?
I'm pretty sure that succeeds.
It's not a tough check, but
I'm pretty sure I have like a branch that gets in contact with them, if I'm
yeah.
not mistaken.
But it's honestly, sometimes you forget things in the moment, or sometimes you don't fully recollect them. It's not to say you don't remember everything, but it takes you guys a bit to remember. While you're talking, you do remember the Night Owls, before you ever met them, were involved in some shady things to begin with. The house that basically kept a forest spirit inhabited in it forcibly. They were the ones to do that. They also removed these strange obelisk gold pillars from their positions around the kingdom and stashed them in this warehouse. Soon afterwards, Aster redistributed them back to where they were. Your team also, along with the help of a fourth that is currently not with you guys, Thane's former character, freed the forest spirit. They are definitely shady people. Just because they're not breaking the law visually doesn't mean they are not stealthily doing it or can't do that. It's not impossible for them. They are the most visual mob without anyone calling them a mob.
Yeah, so I think we might want to touch base with them, or at least you. It might be, like I said, at least the information. They might be able to provide something.
I will try to contact them tonight. They are apt at responding quickly, so...
The next thing is, with the discussions and how they went, I may have stepped out of bounds here, but I'm just trying to help you. I talked to Jean about the merchants and how they might react to certain things. And he assured me that as long as nothing is too over the top, the merchants should be fine.
That is not where you stepped out of bounds. I do not take threats to my kingdom and my people lightly. I know you probably meant it in jest, and you are a friend, so I shall forgive it, but there are things that I wish to not be joked about. The safety of this crown and of the people it protects at the foremost of that.
Sorry, my brain's just like shutting down. What was the threat?
You made like an offhand comment about the Feywild being able to like decimate Mauritania's forces.
Oh, right.
Yeah, the air quotes evil merchant, just a merchant with rudeness, basically made a gesture towards you and you made one back.
Though it might have been seen as that, there's one thing I don't do, and that's I try not to lie. I was being truthful, but I would not seek to attack your kingdom as I've seen no ill will. You've actually opened up your kingdom to my own family. I was just stating an obvious acknowledgement. It's not meant to be threatening, and it's just a fact. But I do apologize for it if it was meant seen as offensive. I don't usually interact with political matters, shall we say.
Again, there is no need to apologize. I understood the meaning behind your words, but something to keep in mind for future reference.
Well, that's all the information I've gathered. When is our meeting with the lycanthropes?
If
From this
I'm not
point, about
mistaken, that
a
should
week
be
and a half.
5 days. Oh, post.
Oh, these are old notes. Yeah, you're correct. Sorry, my bad. 5 days.
Very well. I need to go make sure my sister hasn't lured in any of the city guard. She is quite the handful. So, as a heads up, you may want to warn your captain. I don't like those rolls.
Don't worry about them.
But I need to go make sure that she's behaving herself. So I will be back perhaps maybe tomorrow.
Would you like to meet with the Night Owls with me, or would you see that I do it on my own?
Would they meet with you when I'm involved?
It is hard to say, truly. I don't see why they wouldn't. But they are an organization that cares about such matters, so perhaps you are right.
Whether you can roll insight, you've both met them beforehand.
I used up all my luck in Griefing Final Fantasy.
I
before
think
this,
you
so-
both did.
Okay, you're asking for insight and history. Those are my two worst rolls ever in
Right.
any campaign.
Okay, it's fighting from here on out. Got it. Or wisdom checks. No, wait, sorry, not wisdom checks. Magical statuses. Got it. As long as you've been cordial to them, they've been cordial towards you. Even when Thane, I think it was Thane in this case.
Yes, when I tortured the
like-
motherfucker.
Yeah, they are more or less still cordial. They weren't like, oh, now we must murder you. It's like, problematic person. And took him away.
I mean, Alpani would not be opposed to meeting with them because she still does respect Aster and wouldn't want to put him in a situation when she's the one that suggested it.
Mm-hmm.
So she would probably agree to meet with them alongside him.
Yeah. You guys also know that the time of event, which I'm speaking of, there were 3 people there. One met Aster. One was planting things at the castle keep. They were same group, different orders. And the third one you've never encountered. You don't know what they were doing. You don't know what they were after. You just know that they went to go see the girl in town that they were pursuing in not so nice terms. I believe my exact words were,
We knew who he was, but we didn't ever meet him. I remember you giving us a name, but I
Did
just
I?
don't remember the name. Yeah, I remember the whole spiel about him pursuing someone.
Yeah. Yes, you're correct. I think I gave you a name. You just never met them or saw them in town. I
Yeah.
went along the spiel of blah, 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 meeting his floozy in town.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. That was never truthfully answered. Like that, wherever that third guy went. But good to know.
But yes, I think they would meet with you if you would choose to do so, but you'd have to delay setting out for your home if that matters to you.
Very well. I would still recommend advising your guard captain to tell your guards to be very cautious around my sister.
I would hope them smart enough to understand the idea of a honeypot, but very well.
She's more than a honeypot. She is very wicked and very, very good at deceiving. So I will wait then for whenever you're ready for the meeting.
Very well, meet me atop the castle at midnight.
All right. And now Fine's just gonna go about her way.
You go about our way. Thane, were you in the room or were you doing something else? If you're doing something else, let me know so we can interact with that.
Thane is researching or looking, like trying to figure out how that little item that he took works.
Yeah. You also, when last we spoke with you and Aster, you asked if you could go into the deeper treasure troves of the kingdom. I believe it was not right now, just in case. But you do have the device, and you are potentially messing with it. Are you trying to take it apart, or are you trying to see if you can turn it on and activate its properties?
I've seen it activate. How they act. We activated it when they played it, so I want to see how it works on the inside.
While you have created magical items, this isn't magical, but it could have a magical core, so is this good enough excuse to give you at least a bonus of some sort, is what I'm telling myself right now. Are you proficient in Tinker's Tools? What about blacksmith tools?
Pirates back. I didn't add everything.
I'm not sure what you said there.
I said, let me look at the pirates background real quick.
Okay.
class.
His own
I
type.
tried to mute my mic as quick as I could, but I couldn't get to it.
It's okay.
Nah, I'm proficient in navigating water vehicles, but no blacksmith.
Okay.
And neither one of my classes gave it.
Those are the only two tool sets that I can think of. The other ones don't really make a lot of sense.
I gotta blow my nose.
No problem. Let's see here. Based off of what I have set up for this, I guess just sleight of hand and hope for the best. Yeah.
Wouldn't it be like something intelligent wise that to look for the proper way to take something apart?
That's what I was looking for the tools for.
I mean, I'm very smart, so not clumsy when it comes to stuff.
Let's see here. What can I justify you rolling? Because I do agree with what you're saying, but at the exact same time, you've never built something like this beforehand.
Yeah.
And even if you are wise and intelligent, doesn't mean you can't, mess up a wire or two.
Sleight of hand?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, but they wanted wisdom or intelligence, which, I'm fair to give. I just need to figure out what can I talk myself into giving you.
Investigation?
It's not really breaking it apart, but that's honestly the only one I can think of. Sure, why not? Investigation. You are able to take it apart without ripping any wires or any thing of that nature, and you are able to open the two prong sides without any breakage, which just means you can put it back together if you need to. Looking at it, you can tell that there is a small little isolated core crystal, which just means this is how it's being powered. So it does have a bit of arcanic background to it, but not so much that the entire thing is arcanic. This is just, hey, this is a battery in simple terms. The rest of it is mechanically engineered. While you are proficient in magic, you've never seen something like this beforehand. It is definitely something you can study, but it will not be immediate.
Alright.
And you do have two people currently in the city, except maybe merchants. I guess merchants could potentially give you advice that immediately know how these things work. One is Reeve and the other one is Rev. But you don't exactly like them.
No, I mean, I strictly want to kill one of them.
Yeah.
But, well, I don't know. That might have changed because I gained I gained information that my character knew that I didn't. So
Yeah.
it's
That being the case, though, a merchant can also potentially help you out since they deal with these kind of things and would need a little bit of blueprint to fix some of these things in case they break. Because people have bought these kinds of things from other places. So it's not impossible to get your hands on study material or to figure out how this works. But you easily see it, and now I'm going to say you can, open it and close it without breaking anything. 25 is pretty good. You do close it up. Unless you don't, then you can safely put it away.
I closed it up.
Okay. You safely close it up. Put it in a pouch somewhere on your person. Gets folded over by your many robe like cloth.
Put it in the bag of holding.
Put it in the bag of holding. Gets covered with your many cloth. Your wife does state. All right, then. It seems that you're done with that little device. So, it does seem that the king needs to speak with a few people here and there, and then you all did mention speaking with the lycanthrope populace of the kingdom. And Thane, you have dealt with this kingdom beforehand. Go ahead and roll for me either history or a d20. You gain no bonuses with a d20, but something could happen. You just need to hit a certain number, but another thing would be history, but you get a
I have a plus
specific
6.
thing.
I have a plus 6.
Leave it up to you.
Okay, what am I rolling for?
Potential knowledge on what is happening currently with the lycanthrope populace of this kingdom. You either roll history or a standard d20 with no modifiers. You choose one or the other, but you can't choose both.
Trying to, like, figure out why. Because this character never had interaction.
Okay, 3 isn't that great. You have heard of the lycanthrope populace in the area. You've heard likely Yoko's or Aster's tale on what they've encountered. Most of the time, lycanthropes are kicked out of the city. You've hardly encountered any one of them. When you do, they usually attack and steal any cargo that people carry. They've been often known to be people that loot, but at the exact same time, they've been kicked out of cities all the time. They would either need to do that or survive in the forest to survive. They are not liked by various people, and only until maybe a few days ago were any laws to protect them ever established. Basically, they're not people.
They're people.
They are people, but they are not friendly towards other people because, history. They're very territorial.
I've met people like that.
Yeah. Layla does state, based on our previous encounters with some of them, they can be very violent, so I would suggest speaking with a careful word. Some of them will likely be hot-headed if told the wrong thing. But after that, I would suggest speaking with the king and the rest of your team to perhaps go north to investigate who exactly is funding this little company that is trying to economically destroy this kingdom. Can't really do business here if there's no kingdom, or if it's at war.
Well, could always go to.
That's true, I suppose. But it'd be very... I suppose a very, very rude thing to do.
You forget. We're pirates. It's in the job description.
She politely chuckles. Not in public, but I know what you mean. There's that... Oh. Sorry, if you need a rest.
Thane said that. That
Okay.
was a character.
My bad. I know you're sick, so I can't really tell which one. She nods. Well, you did swear in its own way fealty to him, so many people would...
Only in the name of Lieutenant Thane.
She does nod. Yes, but people will read things differently. Unfortunately, not everyone is exactly smart in these kind of
even
things.
you don't know my true name.
She shrugs. Still, it'd be more practical if you got your, air quotes, team to go to the north.
I'm going to the north anyway. I have things to take care of in a certain place over there.
Fair enough. Well, if you need me, I'll be investigating a few things in town. Hopefully, to some degree of help with your endeavors and the rest of your team.
Alright. We go, I don't think Aster likes her, so I'm gonna go, disappear for a little bit.
She nods. I think he's under a lot of stress, but wouldn't know the man that well, so
Yeah.
take it by your word.
Alright.
She vanishes around the corner. You're not in this room talking this way, by the way. It's just I didn't move you. You begin to more or less make your way out from the room you're currently in to more or less take a walk.
I'm gonna
Hopefully,
go to the highest point in the, at the castle and just sit on the roof.
yeah. Like before, you go back to that place, sit in it, hopefully relax. Yoko, you are currently at a bar, winning winning leg lock contest and see how much strength you have versus other people. You're doing quite well for yourself. From what I remember, you won a bit of gold.
Yeah, I think it was like 2 or something.
Which is still a lot. You likely won coppers and silvers, and it equated to about 2 gold. Peter, Sprite, and a few other of the soldiers are also here. Go ahead.
I think it's funny how we see it as gold, as like 1 or 2 gold, something small. But if you think about it, in this world, 2 gold can let a family live for a while.
I think
Normal
2 gold is like
family.
a month's paycheck. If I remember correctly. But, while Praetor and Sprite and the rest of the gang are with you, not your current gang, you know, people you've met before, people you trained with, honestly, other than Aster's immediate trying to get the military on his side to overthrow the kingdom, you yourself have been with the soldiers far more often, especially in downtime. Peter is a little buzzed, but not fully drunk, and Sprite has had a beverage, which just means a non-alcoholic drink that tastes alcoholic. She's still on the job, keeping an eye on you, Yoko, making sure that you're okay, if you need anything. But honestly, you've just used her to train, and her in turn to train underneath you. Drinking age here is 18. Your 2 youngest students, which is the 17 and 16-year-old, are not with you currently because they can't be in a bar drinking. They're in the corner eating a meal. Sure, if you need to interact with them. Peter does look towards you, a little bit buzzed. Right then. Getting kind of hammered. Probably should get back home. Looks towards Sprite and Yoko yourselves, respectively, after Yoko beats someone in a leg lock competition, easily flips over the man with just the willpower and strength of her legs alone, almost breaking the man's legs, but, you know, trained skill just hurts them really bad. Seems like you're having fun. Do you guys have plans after this? Because if you do, I suggest not getting any more buzzed, or is that just me?
No, I don't have any more plans for after this.
I am to attend to Miss Yoko, but other than that, dinner and then getting a bit of rest afterwards, is what Sprite says. Then Peter states, all right then, I'm gonna hit the hay. Even though it's only looks outside the window. Evening. All right. You guys have fun, and Miss Yoko, remember, the Luminera guys, the mom, the dad, and the weirdo in the robe, all have champions, and like, if you defeat them, you can ask them for something. Theoretically, if you defeat all of them at the exact same time, you could potentially rule the kingdom, but they would all have to agree to that, so I don't think that'll happen, but you can definitely try it. But I've fought in one of their champs before. I almost died. It does hurt. I wouldn't recommend it, but you could do it.
No, it doesn't sound like something I'm interested in.
He shrugs. Okay, well, say hi to the king for me. I'm honestly just waiting here until potential danger happens. Our leader did state that eventual fall after the skies light up in flame to a holy light or something, after a casted shadow envelops the land, piercing through it with light, should I be needed to defend. That hasn't happened yet, so kind of just waiting. Like, stumbles out of the bar. Then he's gone. Sprite just looks towards you, Yoko. Do you think that means anything, or if he was just drunk?
I think it might have some meaning, though none I have any idea about.
Don't really know the man that well, other than when he trains with us. And usually it's only his strength that is very impressive. He's not exactly that smart. I've beaten many of a time in a chess match here and there. And then checkers, and then tic-tac-toe, and then rock, paper, scissors. And then she, like, lists a few other games to simpler and simpler ways of playing. Maybe it's just something he's heard and can't really express well.
Perhaps. Shall we get going back to the castle? I have nothing else I was planning on doing in town.
Very well. She, like, pays the tab with... actually, let's see if she won a few things. 16 and 15. She won 3 silver, which is enough to pay the tab. She lost 5 silver, won 3 silver. So in total, net loss, technically. But that's besides the point. I just came back here to retrieve a token. Aster, without too much of an issue, you are able to find the, air quotes, jail that you put Reeve in. You have a hearty bowl of meal. Various... probably best way I can describe it is porridge, but dinner porridge, which just means it has lots of meat, potato, carrots, and then a bottle of wine. It is very good, but, you know, If you wanted something else, you can definitely have the chef prepare something else. It's just the first thing I thought of.
Just some sort of dessert to go along with it, something sweet.
Yeah, you have a nice little. If you've ever had flan, it's basically that.
Okay.
You have a guard come in, place it to the side. You yourself also walk in. You do see the guard quickly open the door, does the thing, looks towards you. Would you like the door open or closed, sir?
Let me
That will
close it.
be very well then. Closes it after he steps out, hands you the key, and he does state, I also have a pair myself. Would you prefer the outside gate door to be closed or open, sir?
You can leave it open. I'm sure there should be no issue.
Very well. He gets in his post. Effectively, he can't hear you. He can't hear mumbling. So if you do scream or if someone else screams, he can be notified of it. But you do have a private area that you can speak with freely. You would be aware of this.
Lady Reeve, I hope this dinner finds you well.
King Aster, pleasure. It is more than I expected, I suppose. What brings you by? You just now placed me under house arrest, so wasn't expecting to see you so soon. Oh, she goes over to the table, then stops herself for a moment. She does have a letter in hand and goes, the letter is complete, places it back on the table, goes back to the area she's currently standing in. You can take it if you like, or have one of your attendants take it. Examine it and then seal it. Very well then. But what brings you by?
I simply wish to extend a small apology for the treatment. Surely a lady of your esteem understands that sometimes such acts are done in front of one's allies to show strength.
You're not lying. 8 plus modifier. She does state, well, I understand these types of actions. They're usually not underneath this current circumstance, but I can see where you're coming from in a way. But what brings you by now, rather than explaining yourself of prior actions?
Oh, I simply wish to have a more pleasant conversation, noble to noble.
She looks towards you and... Asher, go ahead and roll persuasion. No disadvantage since you're playing towards your strengths and because Rev told you specific things to say. 15 plus your own leadership modifier. She does smile for a quick second, going beyond her normal placid, no smile, no frown, eyes sharp. Simple monotone face is what I can describe it as. Well, thank you kindly for the words, but I am of the third ring. Not a noble, but thank you nonetheless.
But that isn't quite right, now is it? It may be failing, but my eyes are not completely blind.
You are playing towards her ego. Gonna have her roll 6 plus modifier. And she does give an audible... I can't really describe it other than saying exhaust, but with a kind way of exhausting her breath out. Very weird way of saying that, but it's what I meant. Fair enough. Still, I am no longer a noble, if that is to your regard. Exhale. Yeah. A kind exhale. Thank you, Yoko. I word real good.
We know.
Good to nothing. Rev does state, I am no longer a noble, but I am within a certain parameter, that is true. Still, I do hone a few key things I can do with my own trade, and that has drawn in some attention. So if you would want to renegotiate, after your investigation, of course, I see no problem with that.
Of course. Though, I do wonder how long it takes for someone to climb the rings, as it were.
She does sigh. Again, thank you, Yoko. Unfortunately, too long. And unless you know the way how to, or have someone that can do it for you, will take even longer. Still, and at that way, the way she phrased it, you can tell that she has someone that can do it for her. Not that you didn't already know that, but that is confirmation. So you know that Rev isn't lying to you. Reeve, on the other hand, is still playing around with her wording, but you are getting the truth out of her. It's not as if she's been lying beforehand. It's just she is being honest as a person rather than honest as a business person.
Keeping her cards close to the chest, I get it.
She does state, still though, work well enough, gain enough favors, gain enough strength in certain places, and you can draw the attention or eye of people.
People being the matriarch, who is likely to cast you out once they see no more use in you.
Roll insight, because her body language doesn't shift any which way or the other, but it's very hard to not move an eyelid or have your eyes flicker for a second.
Insight, you said?
Yes. Or perception, whichever one works for you.
We'll do insight, and we'll feel lucky about it.
18. You can tell that a slight tinge to the eyelid to the right eye did shift, but very, very near imperceptive, which suggests you're on the money. But at the exact same time, it also suggests that she was trying to hold it in. I don't know who's drawing, but I want to see how it turns out. You can also tell by her eyes, it is a sharp look to that matriarch name, which means that they are on bad terms right now, which also means that the matriarch isn't funding her. Well, regardless of who may or may not have driven me down to a lower ring, is not currently important. But I understand wanting to, how one would say, gather more information on your competitors, you being the king and they being the current leaders of that kingdom.
You read too deep into me. I don't mean to pry in that matter. Again, just a simple conversation.
I suppose that's more than fair. If it is simple, I suppose you can ask me a few questions and I in turn. It is how people get to know each other.
Of course. I fear I may have already overstepped and pried too far, so I will allow you to take first.
Very well then. We'll go with a statement of 3 questions and 3 answers. Simple way of getting to know people. Easy enough terms. And you can tell that she's going with a business sense of trying to understand and get to know people. Doesn't mean you can't be personal by the way she phrased it, but at the exact same time, she phrased it this way specifically to, if you're not the type of person that you are asked her, would likely not pry too personally. But she hasn't
Forbade such questioning.
yes, thank you. I was about to say forebode, but that made no sense in my head. She does state, very well then. Based on the information I do have, it doesn't seem like you're in the registry of the kingdom's nobility here. I suppose my question is, I take it you were either an outcast or not of royal heritage.
I am led to believe that I was a bastard or scapegoat of some kind.
I
To
see.
what ends, I don't entirely know, but
Examining your words, you can tell that she is understanding that a little too well. When you said scapegoat, it felt like she nodded for a quick second, as if she understood what you meant by that. Very well then. Thank you for answering. You may proceed with your question.
well, of course. Would you like a drink? The wine, I am sure, is sweet, but quite nice.
She pauses for a second and thinks about it. That can be the question if you'd like, but you can go with another.
Think of it as a buy. Again, I fear I may have pried too much in my earlier reckoning and wish to make up for misdeeds of the past.
Roll persuasion. There's like no other way I can think about this, because you're not deceiving her with this kind of action. Just being polite.
We're gonna lay it on real thick.
Yeah. Playing against her strengths, you do play them well. I suppose a drink couldn't hurt. You likely open the cork bottle looking at the letter that is currently there, or at least glancing at it. It's not as if you're prying at it immediately. Do you want to get any information at a quick glance? Or if not, you can easily uncork the bottle, pour 2 glasses, or potentially one of this nice vintage 200-year-old human wine, which just means that a human made it.
As opposed to the alternative, I suppose.
Most
no,
of the
I'll
time
just-
I hear like this 200-year-old elven wine.
No, I will just pour the wine for myself and her.
Sorry, poor choice of phrasing, but it was basically to state that, remember, your kingdom hates a lot of other things, and humans are the best in their nature. Until recently, where they realized, thanks to you, that is just a lot of
Maybe
prejudice.
racism was bad.
Yeah. But, you know, it's still very, very good wine. Pour 2 glasses, hand one over towards her, one over towards you. Thank you. And before she even realizes, she did take a sip of it, which just means that she did not reflectively act businesslike or potentially check it out beforehand, which means she's getting too comfortable and she's now realizing this. But she's already taken a sip and realizes it's not poisoned. She also realized she didn't expect it to be, which means she's getting way too comfortable with you. You easily can tell this, and in turn, she also can tell this. It's not as if she is going to stop. It just means that she is now realizing all this is happening.
It is a
Wine?
bit sweet for my palate, admittedly, but I do hope it finds you well.
It is going down smooth at the very least. I do prefer a stronger vintage, but wouldn't exactly go well with the meal.
I figured it a nice compliment to the hearty stew. Small flame.
Quite true. Very well then. Second question on my part. You've stated that you're an outcast, likely for some sort of, I would only imagine, ritual or casting you out to save someone else's own neck. Would you in particularly be driven by your own actions or driven by the actions that were dropped upon you?
That
can-
is...
Roll insight on that if you want, or if you got it, you got it.
I think I quite understand.
Okay.
That is quite an interesting question, one I find myself a bit unprepared for. Am I king because I am Astra Altor, or am I Astra Altor because I am king? I like to think that even should I not have had the hair bit of noble's blood that I did, that I would have still rose to the occasion. But it is hard to say, for that is not the case.
16 plus modifier. She's just rolling insight on you. And whether or not she believes you. I'm not saying you're lying, I'm just saying how she takes it. I suppose that's more than fair to say. Very well then. That meets my quota of 2. You may ask your second question.
For what purpose was a lady of such esteem and nobility like yourself cast to the third ring?
Persuasion. I'm gonna change it up because I don't like it being just persuasion. Not because you're succeeding, but because it feels weird if it's just gonna be persuasion all the time.
Fair enough.
Let's go with performance to have you keep up the part of this conversation.
We're gonna feel lucky.
I think you're good. 25. She nods, still feeling the rhythm of this conversation. It is unfortunately one driven by inquiry and, unfortunately, dissatisfaction with what my actions. I was of the fourth ring after being cast into it by my mother's own actions of marrying into nobility into the kingdom of Numenera. I was brought in as a bastard child, and as I was in my youth, puts up air quotes, suggesting, earlier adulthood around 18, 19. She's now maybe looking 25, maybe 28. I was more inclined to creating and crafting beyond the scope of normal magic because of my father's own repute and their connection with the matriarch. They sent me along to study underneath one of these houses. One of the higher-ups did not care for my processes, and a, puts up air quotes, accident happened underneath my watch. Loss of a warehouse, as well as 5 other lives. cast me down into merchantry status. And then my own mother was held responsible due to my own neglect. She herself was beheaded at the wording of the matriarch. At least as far as I know. She is the one that was governing our stay there. I can only assume the worst. You can roll into it if you want.
I'll believe her.
Yeah, like so far she has never really lied to you. She's just circled around things, but this is a direct answer. And you can tell that it is bitter remembering these things. Again, her eyes do suggest that type of wincing or pain suggesting of a bad memory you relive. Her cup is also being not swooshed around, but you definitely can tell that she's fidgeting with her hand to an extent that the wine inside is like lapping around. Still though, I get by. Now more so than before, but we progress how we progress. Takes a good sip. Very well then. I suppose the last question I dare ask, at least in this conversation. Did at any point you speak with my former associate without me?
By your
did.
former associate, do you mean Rev or do you mean the matriarch?
Rev, you did send me out before her. I can only imagine you had something to say to her. Or certain inquiries, at the very least.
If I were a lesser man, I could say no, due to her not possessing that ability. But I will be truthful. We communicated.
She does nod.
I perhaps learned a bit more about you than you would have liked to know. But I assure it was meant for kind purposes.
She does nod. Again, after the first one. You can tell that that's what she was looking for, rather than you saying, no, I didn't speak with her. Because, she can't speak. She's a mute. And also very scarred up. Throat area is also very severely damaged. So quite literally can't speak. She was honestly looking for that type of answer. More or less fair, I suppose, since we are trying to conduct business first. Fair enough.
I am past conducting business. I am conducting alliances.
That is not exactly... not one and the same, but it can be separated in its own right.
I suppose that's my question. I will not pretend to be completely ignorant of your circumstances. No, nor can I say I disagree with any of the actions you have taken. Despite your dislike of the monarch, or matriarch, forgive me, you show that you are a stout ally and a shrewd businesswoman. I mean that as a compliment, only in the best way. It pains me, in no small deal, to see someone like that being so thoroughly used and misled, manipulated by someone unappreciative of their skill. I suppose for my question, I ask that you would join me. I cannot mean to replace your family, but I can restore your faith in the ruling class and see that the position of privilege that you were so wrongfully taken from is restored in some manner.
I don't keep making it persuasion, but there's no way it's not persuasion. You're asking someone to betray in a way their kingdom. They also
To be
have.
fair, a kingdom they don't particularly like.
I'm not saying it's impossible. You've done it before. But again, it is still their homeland. It is still hard to do, even if you don't care for the leadership there. You might care for other people and situations of that nature, or you might just be driven by your own vengeance. It will be persuasion. It will be a hard DC, but it won't be impossible. It is never impossible. You would normally have disadvantage if you already didn't have the building blocks laid down for a simple persuasion roll against peer-to-peer kind of situation right now. If there's anything else you want included, like say your leadership die, you're more than welcome to use it. But it is still a hard DC. Not impossible, even if you don't roll a natural 20 and then roll an 8 on that die, but it is still hard.
I will be lucky and I will use my commanding presence.
I always forget the name of commanding presence, which is why I just say the leadership die. Okay, DC to beat was 25, and you rolled that on the die alone. Plus 3. Reeve does state, with a genuine smile on her face, rather than, an upturned lip or an exhale with some calmness to it. It is indeed a tempting offer. And while, unfortunately, I cannot take it, I, in a way, can work with you rather than against you right now. I can exactly leave the people that I am working for, but I can slow things down, at the very least, hinder situations, at least until things are resolved.
Suppose that is more than I can ask. And I'll offer her my hand.
Puts the wine glass down, takes it in turn. She basically states to you that she cannot, immediately disappear and, stay here, requisition asylum to, live as she lives, because she does have people underneath her that she does care for. While she is vengeance-driven, she also has people, she needs to make sure that they're okay. She has more or less created her own family, and in turn is trying to murder the matriarch. I'm not even going to be frank there. Wants her extremely dead as possible, holds her responsible for her mother's death, her own dismissal of rank. She also wants to murder her stepfather, but that's beside the point. Mainly the leadership was the reason why she did all this. She goes on to tell you that she does not know who is the people that is giving her orders, but she does believe it is the patriarch, as it always comes in with a hint of a sea breeze to the letters. And he is, well, the person that runs the naval fleet in the area. Also, they've also had help transporting, exporting things and goods and services. The few things that they've had to do, though, is give requisitional command to sign over some ships to the benefactor that they receive, change a few titled names. They do go on to state that they are not sure who is sending the ships down into the Underdark and going out into the other kingdom, as you stated. But it is possible that is the Patriarch that basically, in a way, you believe maybe Aster, or maybe you don't, is framing them with the capital E, little e.
So they don't know what's on those ships.
Yeah. Not personally, but they do believe it is the benefactor that they are receiving money and funds from. They do believe it is a patriarch based off of hints, clues that they've already gathered themselves. It's not as if they're acting blindly. Rev is smart. She would not be wary of these things. And she cannot immediately dismiss everything to join you guys because she, again, has a built family and wants to keep that safe. So she can't disappear, but she can help out in certain regards.
And I wouldn't have asked her to. I would have, again, she's better off serving as more of a spy on the inside than anything else at the moment.
Yeah.
Very well. I will make sure that you are released in the morning so that no suspicion is shown. In the meantime, I ask that you reconsider our earlier conversation on what would a fair tax rate be for your machines. They can undoubtedly prove very beneficial to everyone, but such things take time to properly implement.
Very much true. It will have to be a long negotiable struggle, but we can supplement our non-use for them with hiring of your countrymen and women, of course. But it will have to be looked at, if my government is looking at it, in a lens of merchantry. I can draw up some paperwork here and there. If you have a merchant on your end, they can also assist me in this endeavor. I would suggest someone you can trust. Not just someone that lines your pocket, as many nobles do. You believe she's talking about the matriarch in this case, not you specifically.
I will have a friend of mine, Jean, get in touch with you on the matter.
She registers that name and she does state, that one. He was also cast out of his family, or chose to be cast out. I'm not entirely sure. He was a proprietor of a very large sum of money, but don't know why he would give it all away. Well, I don't know him personally, so shrugs.
It is not for me to say.
I'm just talking out loud at this point.
Of course. I'll have the door kept unlocked, but there will be a guard posted until your leave tomorrow morning. I assume that letter will no longer be necessary. Forgive the trouble that went into writing it.
It only took 10 minutes. No, nothing to be concerned about. You do look at the letter, and it is probably 5 pages long. She's a very good businesswoman through and through. She goes on to tell you that she is the framework source of the automatons, or warforges as they call them. And if you want to know more about the power source, you would need to speak with Rev, her other half of this company.
If you want for anything in the meantime, simply ask. And if you need to speak to me for any matter in the future, it might be best to do through an intermediary, so as to not rouse suspicion to you, or your business partner, for that matter. And I mean to suggest to her that I've already had a very similar conversation with very similar outcome with Rev.
She does not, unsurprised. I would imagine so.
Unless there's anything else, I should be taking my leave.
Nothing at the moment.
Thank you for the enlightening and much more peaceful conversation Lady Reeve. I'll give a shallow bow and take my exit.
You do so, and she like playfully says, "Wonder what conversation he's talking about." Oh well. Playfully suggesting like this conversation never happened. Much the same when she made a joke with Alpani.
And yeah, I'll relay to the guard that she's not exactly a prisoner, and that the door can stay unlocked, and if she asks for anything, to provide it.
Very well, sir. Nods. He finds it weird, but he's not gonna argue against the king.
It's just a formality while the investigation starts. She is permitted to leave in the morning.
Of course, sir. You head out, and before we take our likely 5-minute break, or we can take it now, but we'll likely go with Alpani, and then time will pass, and we'll likely be at the what's it called? Lycanthrope meeting. So if you guys want to take your 5 here, we can definitely do that, or we can start with Alpani's, and then afterwards we take our 5.
Why don't we wrap up this part so we can get on to the lycanthrope?
Yeah, that's fair. I don't think it's going to take that long. Dependent on what Alpani's sister does. Alpani, you go into the forest section that was requisitioned by Aster's sister, propagated thanks to your own efforts as well as the council's and Aster's own funds. It did cost a bit of money to make sure that this plot of land was bought out by other various factors and making sure that itself was entitled to the kingdom rather than any specific person, but the druids in the area do lay claim to it to make sure that the rest of the area is propagated with more foliage and a lot more nature. Your sister is currently the head ambassador of this current project, and as you walk towards that area, you do see that there are other druids in the area, roughly around 4 others, which means, enough for a circle, but very limited numbers, but enough to, easily get by. Do you look for your sister first, or do you speak with any of these druids?
Probably just greet them, ask them where my sister might be.
Yeah. You greet your sister. You greet the other druids, talking with them here and there. They say greetings, salutations, and eventually you come over towards a nice Genasi man, windswept hair, green skin, and, well, his decorum is that of a standard, typical druid. Leaf clothing, bark weapons, things of that nature. He's not, swinging them around, but, he is prepared to fight in case he needs to. The man looks towards you after you ask where your sister is, and he does state, last I checked, she was with a few guards down that way.
I knew this was coming. Thank you. And Alpani's going to make her way towards where she was directed. She's not going to completely approach. She's going to see what's going on first.
Yeah. You head over towards where your sister was noted to be. She takes more after your mother rather than your father. She still has these stag horns, but, she has more of a complexion with elven blood, blue hair. You believe it's magically tinted to match her skin tone. She's just really laying it thick on these guards, like complimenting them, playfully Best way to describe it, a lot of PDA in public. Even though technically private area. On a road, people can cross through whenever they desire. She's like bashfully flirting with them, and they in turn are like drawn towards her. Both magically and, very attractive woman.
I knew it. I knew it. I knew it.
There is a fourth guard that isn't currently, bedazzled by her. He's the only one that made the save. That's like looking towards them, and from time to time does state, anyone can walk through the streets. And then a few moments later, we really should be back on our posts. Calling.
I'm dropping a lightning bolt near them, but not hitting them.
Yeah. You cast lightning into the area, causing things to fracture and scatter. In that instant, I'm going to have them roll... No, I'm going to have your sister roll concentration check. No, she's very good. I'm going to have them roll other saves. One immediately is out of her charm and like books it away, fearing for his life. The other two are still bedazzled by her. Although she now notices that thunder and no cloud in the sky. Sorry, lightning and no cloud in the sky. And then like looks around and then notices you. She like shoos the other guards away. No, go ahead and go back to your post. I'll see you all later today. And then she like directs towards you as if she was doing nothing wrong. Pawnee, it's been quite some time. How you've been?
You're not here to flirt with the guards. You're here to set up a druidic circle.
I can multitask.
Multitask? Only thing I've seen you doing is flirting with guards.
You wound me, Pawnee. Truly.
I will call Dad.
And I'll call Mom.
Okay. I'll just distract Mom with some crystals. What you got now?
She like looks at you staring daggers because she knows that'll work. Well, if you're your information, she's more into oils now.
Well, thanks for giving me that idea. So go ahead and call Mom.
This is also not true. She was before into oils and then now into crystals. Mm-hmm. She's just reflexively fighting back. Well, if you must know, I've already prepared a few things here and there. She tells you about the things that she quite literally has prepared. She is, she has downtime, and the way downtime works for her is flirting.
Right.
She has already prepared a good amount of magical circles and things in the area. There are 3 rows of goodberry bushes that can be plucked per day. Each of these bushes hold about 20 berries per day. They can be easily housed, stored in any area. So, people that need to eat can eat in case there's a famine. And these are easily, preserved. So they would last far more than, normal preserves. Unless, dried out and salted and things of that nature. But, you don't really have to do that with this. She's already had the druids prepare the forest for reconstruction of fortification, which just means that geographically the area would shift into a more... the best way I can describe it is a defensive line. The forest itself would be hard to be lost in, but would also hinder any movement if coming towards it through away from the city rather than into the city rather than away from it. So if you're leaving the city, you can easily move. If you're going towards the city through the forest, like say invasion force, it would be harder to do.
Well, that's good. The only reason I'm getting on you right now is there's a lot going on here in the mortal plane. And especially close to the city. I need you to be on guard.
Pawnee, I am. I just get distracted sometimes.
It's... Sister, you do realize that we may be facing off against the Drow very soon. And the Druids are needed to be able to feed an army.
Yes, but what does it have to do with us? We are not from this kingdom. No matter how much you and Mother care for these people.
You know the Drow's hatred extends far past humans. There are portals that they could use to open up into the Feywild. What would you say then when our home is under invasion?
They can try. But you and I both know that is a very bad idea.
Yes, it might be, but you know they will try. And I would rather not see a war brought to the Feywilds.
I suppose it would be beneficial to have any fighting happen here than our own kingdom. Fine. But you really make this very difficult. I mean, just look at them. She looks towards the fourth guard that was never charmed. You believe like she's trying, not casting a spell, but you know, fey creatures often can just be, they have glamours. You know about this. It doesn't have to be casted. It just happens. The guard in question, you already know who it is. It's the guard that helped you beforehand. Looking towards her, he like walks away, not because he's charmed by her or not charmed by her, but more like, is none of my business? And then just walks away, going back into, still within his post, but further away so he can't be talked towards. If you don't remember who it is, it's the guard that helped you with Faraday to, you know, have him restored.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't remember what we decided his name was.
I think it was something extremely plain.
It is.
But I can't remember it at this moment in time. I just knew I wanted one of the guards to be this guy. Anyways, the man walks away. She goes, "Oh, and now you scared him off." Fine. I guess since they're currently away, I can get back to work.
We just need to make sure things are prepared.
We'll have
Play-
fortifications.
Play after the fortifications. For now, focus on what needs to be done. You're here to help them set up a druidic circle to maintain this place.
She gets off of the rock she was currently sitting at and looks towards you. Fine. The reconstruction of the forest line and betterment for your friends, maybe? I don't know what they are to you. Will be done in about 2 weeks.
I will talk to Mother and Father to extend your stay here if you wish. I know here in a few days' time I will be venturing out. So I'd rather not have to be concerned about small matters.
I suppose that's more than fair, but Alpani, I am a full adult.
Well, I know this, but sometimes you act more of a child than I am. And we both know I'm the younger of the two of us.
She rolls her eyes and like begins to walk away towards the forest. Have work to do.
Ohani's just gonna put a notch in her belt. Okay.
Eventually, she does walk away. Yeah. Fortifications of the out exterior and forest area will be done in about 2 weeks. So long as no one starts a fight within that time, you should be good. And I'm talking mass scale fight, not 1-on-1 or 5-on-5.
Or setting a forest on fire.
Or setting a forest on fire.
Don't know who did that.
Thane's former character and one of my NPCs.
Oh, I'm only blaming you right now, Dogma.
Fair enough. Okay.
I was not here for the former character.
That's fair. To be fair, though, it was only like a light brush that washed away after a little bit of time. Not important. I legitimately set the forest on fire for a little bit. To distract. Didn't exactly distract. That being the case, though, with things said and done and likely little things happening in between, we will take a 5-minute break here and we will start with the lycanthrope meeting. But, between that time, I'll ask you what happens. But for now, take a 5-minute break. I'll be right back. All right. We'll begin. As the day slips away, either taking a break or reestablishing boundaries, or making sure people follow boundaries, or making new alliances, or just having a good day with friends at a bar, you all return back without too much of an issue. You take your long rest, whatever you need. There are a few days before the actual session of the meeting where you are to go into a forest area of peaceful grounds, unless someone does something specific, to meet with the lycanthrope parties that may or may not be attacking you soon. As well, they've heard you've done a few bad things. More on that later, maybe, depending on what you guys do. Within those few days leading up to it, you will need about a day and a half to get there. So within like 3 days, what do you guys think your characters would do within those 3 days' time? We'll go with Yoko first, then lead up all the way to Alpani. So Yoko, what do you think you would do in 3 days if you have like no fighting to do, but you can obviously spar and stuff, but no murder fighting to do?
Well, we'll probably just do some practice and make sure she has the supplies she needs for the trip. So
Yeah.
just stuff like food and water and all that stuff.
Getting your fighting practice in, you are able to train a little bit here and there. Spark obviously will not be accompanying you. Sprite will not be accompanying you. I always forget the joke. Sprite Young won't be accompanying you because you won't be the capital anymore. But if you do need an attendant, Astra can quite genuinely have one set for to travel along with you guys if attendants are required, but probably not needed. We'll see how that goes. You prepare getting your meals, your rations, and all that stuff set up, so you're more than ready to travel. Astra, what do you think you're doing in those 3 days' time?
Probably boring politics stuff.
For sure. You go over a good amount of paperwork here and there. Going with the council and your sister, there is a lot of paperwork to do, especially since you haven't been there for a bit, but your sister has more than enough covered for you. In fact, you're surprised there's not more, but, surprisingly enough, your sister is very good at the job. Not to say you aren't. But at the exact same time, hands there are able to work if your hands are busy. Maybe perhaps fighting someone, murdering someone down, or going to another kingdom. To deal with politics. Thane, what do you think you're doing in 3 days' time? Nothing. No problem. You're more than able to do nothing. In fact, I implore many of you to think about just relaxing with your characters. You're able to just spend downtime however you wish. Easily enough enjoying your time that you have with your wife, with people around you, and honestly, you are more than good to go. Alpani, what do you think you're doing in those 3 days' time?
Helping out around the city and then assisting her sister with the Druidic Circle and stuff.
Yeah, you help out with the people in town, making sure they're safe, secure, and everything else of that regard. You help out with the Druid Circle when needed, and it is sometimes needed. Not because they don't have the manpower, more is just, useful. After, the work's time done, you do catch your sister playing around, chastising her all the while. You do fear leaving her alone without any sort of authority. You likely ask Fail, ask her sister to, keep an eye on her just in case. Within that time, you're easily able to help one another relax, or perhaps, do the job needed to be done. As that time concludes, you do travel. And is this the party that you travel with, or are there more? Meaning, do you guys take anyone else with you? Any attendants, people you've met, people you've dealt with? You guys did have a meeting with the Night Owls, Aster and Alpani, and anyone else that would like to be there. What exactly would you have spoken about?
I would have simply asked them if they knew what was being transported in those ships.
You do ask them, and they. I'm just gonna bring the woman there rather than anything else. I'm just gonna say you're all there. It saves me trouble. Oops, I copied and pasted you guys beforehand. A rather beautiful-looking, pink-haired woman is there. She does state, interesting. Going through the borderline, that would be underneath the drow area, if I had to imagine. Oh! Well, we don't have eyes everywhere. We can definitely investigate that if you wish. We do know a bit about it, though. It does seem that after the next day, she does come in and does state, after getting information, it does seem that the ship lines are going through the naval fleet of the Luminera Kingdom and then vanish into the night while traveling at night, and then soon after make way through the kingdom to the south of here. It would take, well, a reputable sort to have no documents indicating that ships have gone missing. We do have a bit of conversation with the honeybees down south of us. We can inquire a few things from them, or we can investigate northwards. But that would require a favor on your end.
What would this favor be?
We do need a shipment to travel past your kingdom's naval fleet into the neighboring kingdom to the north, south, east, west of here. And it is not exactly transportable in the normal sense. It would be breaking certain animal handling laws. Well, monstrosity handling laws in this case.
I think I see. May I ask what it is in particular?
A family of owlbears. You do know that owlbears in your current kingdom are usually exterminated because they're very violent creatures. Either that or corralled in safe areas to make sure that, they don't attack a city or a town because they are very strong things. You don't transport these things out of kingdom without actual reason or concern. So whenever one is sighted by the border, they are immediately attacked or scared away. And transferring these things through the border is highly illegal for obvious reasons. It would potentially destroy any native environment in the area, or who knows where it'll go. They aren't just existing in your kingdom, but, you don't want to transport anything dangerous into another kingdom.
And under what flag do you sail into the kingdom?
Current flag that is housing them is Aquis.
And the end goal with these owlbears?
a new home. Someone has adopted them and has paid a large sum for these exotic creatures. Yoko, you're not wrong. Like she has documentation, not on where they're going, but on documentation on these owlbears themselves. They derive from Aquas itself. They are a albino species, which just indicates that their furred and feathered tone is white. Their eyes are also like near porcelain white as well, with a red tint to it around their iris. This would be a very, very exotic creature, especially down here, and entire family of them. That's a lot of money.
Alpani, do you have any concerns with the agreement there?
No.
Well, having deferred to my more druidically inclined colleague, I will agree to your terms. I will have a message sent to the shipyards that the name of whatever vessel you need be cleared.
It is the SS Killinger. Thank you very much.
And when should I be expecting the report back?
On our end, roughly around 4 days, 2 to get there, 1 to investigate, and 1 teleportation circle to get back to the capital.
Tidings.
Tidings. She goes, does her work, and when you get back, you'll have the information. She just doesn't immediately have it. So you will get that information as soon as you guys get it back, and who knows? As long as you don't try to fight anything, you should be good.
Wow, that's not concerning.
Let's go with Wilderness Path. A classic. Striding after a few moments of time, you are able to get here without too much concern or issue. Traveling here, it does take you a few good days, but you are able to make stride and make haste. None of you did state that you were bringing anyone else here, but if you are, just let me know. I assume Thane brings his wife, but if anyone else brings someone or, requests anyone else to be here, they can be here. I'm not saying they can't. Just let me know now.
Nope. Nobody I wanted to bring with.
Okay. You guys are able to get here without too much of an issue and without carrying too much baggage or people. And sometimes, things in between. You do come to this area and you do see the forest spirit you guys were able to release beforehand. You do see the leader of the Lycanthrope Western Party, Eastern Division, and you do see a very large wolf humanoid creature. Best guess, maybe 10 to 11 feet tall. Very bulky build and very dangerous if likely attacked, but you are under the upon you are underneath no one attack anyone else and you are good to go. They don't understand what Aster meant. So when you guys requisition this, the spirit did state, so long as no one throws a punch, that is all she can promise.
Would I know if there's like an honorific title that I should call these the lycanthropes?
You just know that they would be called pack leaders.
Yes, they go by Doggo.
They go by Doggo and Mittens.
I
No,
should
they
tell,
don't.
and I should tell them that they're a really good boy and give them a scratch behind the ears, right?
Yep.
A little bit history on your own country, I suppose. They are often considered bestial creatures, often considered outcasts, thrown out. Many of them are either infected to become these lycanthrope creatures or born as lycanthrope naturally, because it does happen. Many of them are believed to be curse-bound, which means that they are tossed out, attacked as soon as they are found and met. So a lot of stigmas have been drawn out. Various slurs in their, I suppose, tone would be to call them cat, dog, whatever, without referring to their actual names. You can call them, however, like cat folk, dog folk, were dog, were cat, things of that note, but without the air quotes honorifics, it would be, you know, not a nice thing to say.
And I will step forward and take a bow. Fair tidings, all. It is my esteemed pleasure to greet you all once more. Pack leader, spirit, and all.
The spirit leader does state, welcome. Here we have pack leader of the west and pack leader of the east. I don't believe I ever gave you the pack leader's name, so I'm just gonna make it visible now.
Dave.
Bob.
It's Dave now. Bob does look good.
better.
Anyways, you would be familiar with Hilda. That is not impossible to, discern. I'm sure, at one point or another you would have asked for a name, but this is the West Pack leader you have never would have met, so that does make sense why you wouldn't know him. Well, I do like Bob. I think I'm just gonna go with his actual name. Which is Vontu.
Everybody's gotta have a fancy name, huh? Can't nobody be important be named Bob.
When I think the guard's name was Bob. When I've done standard names, I forget them, okay? I don't know why. Friends call him Bob. The spirit leader does state, welcome, one and all. We bring ourselves here to negotiate and perhaps talk with one another. Those that wish to speak may step forward, and those within the same groups may speak amongst themselves or with the rest of the packs here. No fighting is to incur. If fighting is to incur, two groups may not fight amongst another without the third imposing their position between. Basically meaning no one can gang up on another person. Otherwise, not allowed.
I was operating under the circumstance that
The spirit leader does state. His voice sounds rough. The spirit of the forest does direct their attention towards the main group and does state towards Aster. Now then, you did want to speak and commune with the two before any incursions arise in the future?
I did.
Those in your group can also speak, of course.
Esteemed pack leaders of the East and West. As you may or may not be aware, I have recently took control of the kingdom, and it has come to my attention that my people have done a great disservice to yours for many moons. This is a wrong I would see corrected, and one I would amend going farther into the future. I have recently passed laws and a precedent of non-segregation that I could hope as the first olive branch towards a bright future together. I mean to make peace and to see the sins of my kingdom's past righted.
Hilda does state, while that is all said and good for the people that have not been placated by your kingdom or its people's actions, what good would it do the people that already harbor condemnation towards your people? I have already met you and some of your party, and I can understand your idealism. But do you truly expect your... She tries to phrase it in a way, but she can't phrase it in a good way. Fear-mongered population to quell their fear due to pretty words on a piece of paper.
No. And that is why I mean to do more than simply add kind words and fair laws. I mean to see the clans of the East and West fully integrated into the Kingdom of Mauritania, not as outsiders, but as one of its people, as it should have always been.
Hilda is about to say something, but then Vontu does state, and you think that matters to us now? We have already been outcasts and outsiders. And what now? Just because you've taken place, seen value in our strength, you seek domination?
Pack Leader Von Tu, I understand and deeply feel your words. Forgive me, you are the Pack Leader of the West, correct?
Nods.
If I am not mistaken, that is quite the forested area.
Just looks at you.
With our eastern side being marshes of sorts due to the rivers that run throughout it. These are both of your homes, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct. Vontu doesn't say anything, but also indicating correct.
I love your homes, this land and its people, your folks included. They mean a great deal to me. I have sacrificed and bled and will continue to do so for them. I cannot begin to make up for the ills of the past. My kingdom was at one point misguided, and I can only hope to right that going forward. There are places that I have established within the capital, and I mean to establish within all cities. Places of nature and primal beauty. Places that I think would harbor your clans well. And I mean to make those areas more accessible to you and yours.
Hilda does state an interesting proposition, and then Vontu does state, do you really think I can trust someone that has already taken our blood? He throws something at you, not, directly towards you, but, like someone to throw documents on the table to show that you're lying. Throws like a little slab of metal towards you on the ground, roughly 10 feet away from you. And there are symbols on it that suggest minor illusion, which just means that it is going to cast a minor illusion spell. In it shows the dead bodies of lycanthrope and anima folk on the ground, splayed down, all dead. I've already heard about your actions and the various deaths of our people. And I've already made plans if you are to strike me here.
Did you say depths?
Deaths, sorry, that's me more or less slurring my words. My bad.
But how does this prove that he's the one who did it?
He looks at you heavily, he's staring daggers. Best way I can describe it.
The lightning in my eyes flash.
Forgive my cohort Thane. He is not originally part of my kingdom.
No.
But he has sworn ties to me. He speaks not Thane. He speaks not of me in particular, but of our kinsfolk.
No, but he is correct. I don't know. I don't know anything, do I? I'm sure you and your people exactly know these types of actions, these types of thoughts. Pretty words is all I hear. Only that one shows the true colors of you humans.
What one?
What does that one refer to, yeah?
Thane. Thane, immediately not hearing him out. This doesn't prove anything. Basically saying, you're a liar. Not in those words,
No.
but because he's been, thrown out of society, this is how he's seeing things. You guys can tell this.
Could I be able to repay the sins of the past more fairly? But I cannot. I will not trade lives. And it is something I urge you to not take into account either. The trading of lives only ends in misery for both sides.
Hilda does state, I suppose that is true. And Vontu does state, you don't know of our people. You don't know of what you and your lot have done. Not your hands have spilled blood, but those around you.
I will
And
not
now
feign
you ask
ignorance
us-
of this, and I will endeavor to learn more. I would have you eat and explain this at our tables amongst our kingdom. Not as outsiders or kinsfolk, but as who you really are.
And what
Citizens
are
of
we?
Citizens of this great new kingdom.
And if we choose not to be, we have already been thrown out. We possess no adherence to your kingdom. We, due to the, as you stated, errors of the past, are not even people. You do know, again, tossed out, thrown out, cast out of the civilization itself. Effectively, they are not people due to the bylaws that you've had. You've reconstructed that, making sure that they are classified underneath that. But not a lot of them know that because none of them usually live in a city. All this is to him are pretty words, potential lies of someone in power that doesn't want to see any harm come to him or the people he cares about and wants to placate someone that could cause harm. Hilda, on the other hand, seems to be understanding you. She's already met you before. She understands what you're trying to say, what you're trying to do. But Vontu is not her. This man has seen prejudice time and time again, and it is very hard to hear more of the same things he's heard before and trust it.
Fair leader, Yantu of the West, Vantu, as I was. I am no stranger to the discrimination, and I'll go ahead and remove my mask. I understand what it is like to be marred by outside appearance. Do not think that I make simple, hollow promises. I would see them out. I would see both of you seated at the council so that you may speak for the tribes of the East and West, so that we might learn and take care of their plights much better than we have done in the past.
Okay. Based off of how things have been going on, Aster, go ahead and roll persuasion. Hilda advantage, Vontu disadvantage. Yeah. So for Vontu, I take the lowest roll, and for Hilda, I take the highest.
Oh, unless he uses like luck or.
Yeah,
Then you would have to roll.
How would using lucky here work?
You would have to. You can split apart the rolls. You can roll once for Hilda and roll once for Vontu, and then use your lucky.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was about to say that kind of.
Yeah, I was just
That
confused.
was kind of.
Yeah, it sounded weird. It made sense in my head, but I get what you're saying.
I'll go ahead and use use Hilda first then.
19 plus your leader presence.
Didn't she
20.
have advantage?
Yeah, she already had advantage, so no lucky.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Sorry. I said the wrong number. That is my bad. Thank you, Thane. 23 plus 3, 26. I would need to see the documents that you have stated, but it's not an impossible thing to quell things down.
And I'll go ahead and use a lucky to make a normal roll for Vontu.
Hmm? I'm gonna wait 3 seconds.
I'm gonna use another lucky and reroll. 31. And I'll go ahead and say that's my final answer, no whammy.
Okay. Unfortunately, the number to beat was 25.
So 31 was quite it.
It doesn't mean he's gonna fully trust you or believe you, but you do get this.
All relations in time.
Yeah. Hilda has basically already agreed to, hear you out. Vontu does state. Pretty words, and that's all there is. Bring in someone to my domain and see how trustworthy you are. The folks that have placed within the ranks of the... I guess he would just call them drow. Or elves. What would he consider them? I don't think he would note the difference.
Depends on how you envision him. Is he's of course smart, but is he like civilized?
I just in my mind he's colorblind. I don't know if he could tell the
Then
difference.
He might
Yep.
just say pointy ears.
He's got fucking dog vision. Sorry, that's too funny.
Pointy
He'll
ears.
probably say elves, but wouldn't know drow from standard elven folk. But you guys could tell what that means.
They're darker, aren't they?
Good speak,
Technically true.
They are a darker gray, obviously, or purple, depending on image that comes up. However, again, hard to tell colors if you're colorblind, but not impossible to tell them. But you would be able to discern that they are the drow that he's speaking of. And the ones that are in the ranks with the elves would probably say of the dark to help out your understanding.
What exactly is
Are
he saying?
there already? Basically stating, bring in a politician or someone of high repute and see how trustworthy your words are if you send them towards his domain, basically where he lives. If you truly believe peace can happen, you can send someone there, would signify that your words are true and not hollow promises. But he has also stated that he has already sent in lycanthropes to follow the drow. Not his entire force, because he's not stupid, but, a division of lycanthropes.
Very well. That is more than an acceptable term. Fair pack leader of On2, I offer myself, unaccompanied and unescorted.
No. It is one thing to put in your own life in danger. It is another to send someone that you care for and that cares for you enough to see the danger in front of them and step forwards.
I'll go.
How about his sister then?
It does not need to be decided right now. At a game, it doesn't need to be decided right now. He basically gives you coordinates, aka geographical area. You can easily discern with a map where he expects you to send the person in some... He would probably say 5 moons. So like week, excluding weekends. And before the meeting is called off, he begins to walk into the forest. Because he's not done listening, but ball's in your court, whether you decide to take it.
When I do send them, given that you will not be there to show them the way, would having a escort that is adept at navigation be considered an insult? I would not mean to offend.
They may possess an escort if they are not wary of the land that they live on. And they may possess blades if they so choose to defend themselves. Just not ones that would mar our body. Meaning, silver tipped.
I look forward to future communication with you, Pack Leader Vaunt.
Scowls at you, but, there is venom behind the scowl, but there is potential trust there as well. And seconds after he goes into a deeper area of the forest, he does the Homer Simpson, walks into a bush and disappears. You hear no sound. You see no rustling of leaves anymore. Hilda's there. I'll send some diplomats.
I
I
would not mean
suppose they would be called.
I would not mean to offend by offering separate terms to the Pack of the East. If you would like a diplomat to meet you on your field, I am okay to dispatch two.
With your former ally, wherever they may be, Thane's former character, you had already... Milo, thank you. With your former ally, Milo, you had already shown some care for my people. At the very least, you did not use them in the way that would be dangerous. I see your words as true. I will send in, I believe you call them diplomats, wiser men, to the capital to see what you have to offer.
Look forward to future relations, Pack Leader Hilda.
She nods, and the spirit of the forest does state, very well then. This concludes the meeting of the packs tonight. Hilda nods towards her, towards your team, jumps in the air about 15 feet, landing on this tree, and then, much like the pack leader to the west, she...
Homer Simpsons it out.
No, she, leaves into the forest, but you do hear her sounds. She's just fast as heck. Within, seconds, she's, 100 feet away. And then after a few
you're
more
Naruto
seconds...
running, right?
Yeah. Naruto running away. She's gone within seconds. If you guys were in a fight, it'd be very hard. Not impossible, but very hard to defeat them. The spirit of the forest... Go ahead.
I thank you for acting as a neutral party.
Of course.
I have my sincere gratitude, and if there is any gift you wish, I will endeavor to see it happen.
There is none. So long as the forest thrives and survives, there is no want that I desire.
Well,
Basically, don't burn the forest down and you're good.
How is this forest looking?
Beforehand, it was decaying away because she was trapped and imprisoned. Now, it is slowly regrowing back to its healthy form. It is not fully, this type of typography, geography, Alpani, based off of everything you already know of. It should be full, it should be fresher, but it is not. Right around now is when the leaves turn color and tint and tone. They don't have that type of vibrance that normal leaves would have at this stage. It's more like we're still growing. We cannot diminish anything by changing our color tone. Otherwise, we'd lose a lot of, best way I can say it, vigor to continue to grow. It is slow, but it is going.
Okay. Aster, can we delay our departure?
I did not bring camping supplies. So long as everyone else is all right with a bit of moonlight ceilings, then I am okay with so.
I can make...
We don't want to alter the forest
It
Oh.
doesn't
in that
alter.
sense.
Go ahead.
Very well, but Yoko, Layla?
Yes?
Are you okay delaying our departure from this forest?
I don't have anything planned, so it's fine by me.
The spirit of the forest does state there is no... If you do have to change the forest, that is fine. That is how nature works. It thrives. It consumes and it changes. Basically means don't level the forest, but you can, camp out here, set up a tent, things of that nature, get firewood. People survive, animals survive in these ways. Maybe not getting, wood for a fire as a deer and an axe could theoretically do that, I guess. But more like, nature takes root so long as you're not setting the place ablaze or breaking an entire
natural order, basically.
Yeah.
Take what you need, nothing more.
Thank you.
Well, I am looking more to give back to the forest. Speaking plainly, I want to use plant growth on the 8-hour version casting to help revive the forest more, probably giving the spirit more energy as well.
Probably since she's been cooped up for several months.
And I will explain what I would like to do to the spirit so it understands that I'm actually genuinely trying to help.
Very well then. She can sense insincere thoughts sometimes, but you have, in that regard, no insincere words. She's newly picked up this skill because the last time she didn't, she was trapped. So after hearing your words and sensing no malice or deception in them, she can understand what you say. Very well then.
Things that happen to you in life train you for the future.
Yeah. You set up camp without too much of an issue, either casting a spell or setting up a tent. That is up to you. Or, I don't know, maybe Aster sets up a hammock in a tree and looks at the night sky.
Well, I mean, you can see outside the hut.
Sets up a hammock inside the hut and looks at the night sky. I don't know. I always envision Aster in a hammock. I don't know why.
It feels oddly fitting in a weird way when you say it.
He's sitting in the hammock with that a blunt and just sitting there with his hands behind his head and just relaxing. Yeah. One in his hand.
Upon you begin to cast plant growth as everyone else begins to rest, relax, and you will also take your long rest soon afterwards. Soon after people begin to fall asleep, you begin to cast plant growth, and in itself is a very intimate thing, especially with the spirit of the forest. You are more or less casting your strength and making hers grow. Effectively, it would be kind of like a warlock helping out their patron by increasing their strength. But you're not a warlock, I think. I forget your combination.
Druid cleric.
Okay, that's what I thought, just making sure. But you would know how this...
Clerics are sort of like warlocks,
Yeah. But
They're
if you...
socially acceptable warlocks.
Yes.
Right? I never thought about that. Never thought about it that way.
Yeah. Anyways, the spirit of the forest does understand, and it does help her grow. Technically, the spirit of the forest doesn't have a gender. It just likes to be in this shape and form, because saw something pretty, decided to turn into this form. Shaping and binding your own strength and enhancing her own, you are able to make the trees in the area flourish, the foliage begin to grow even faster. Some of the trees grow with enough strength that their leaves begin to turn into a more wintry tone, which suggests that they are in a vibrant state, able to sustain themselves finally without, need to keep as much of their energy inside to help with the growth rate. After a good amount of hours are done, it is about time you guys go to sleep. The spirit does thank you, tremendously does thank you. She's had to keep herself isolated within the this current area, because this is more or less a ley line where magic goes through the strongest.
I remember this map.
I've used it, I think, 2 or 3 times. I forget how
Last
many times.
campaign.
Yeah, for sure, last campaign.
This is where we met. We went in to meet I think it was like a doc, the dude with the hat. The SCP with the hat.
Oh, unfortunately, I remember a lot of SCPs with hats.
Yeah, but he was like, cause my character took the hat, thought about putting it on at one point.
Oh, right.
Mr. Wondertainment.
Wondertainment.
Yeah.
Mr. Wondertainment in and of himself is not an SCP.
Oh, okay.
A lot of things that they make or help produce are.
Got it. Okay.
Unless you go by the strict code of them being 001, but that's besides the point. Anyways.
And also a stupid fucking proposal.
Yeah. Anyways. Other campaign aside.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. I just like how this is another meeting spot.
Yeah, I watched at I've got upon his stream up and they scrolled up and I saw the tomb and I was like, oh, I remember this.
It's a very good meeting spot map.
Yeah.
Regardless, you guys are able to help out the forest and the spirit in itself. It is able to help grow, and this marshland, that it is a marshland. Asher, you are correct. Of the topography, which makes sense because you're the king. You would study this up. Helps to make sure it stabilizes so that anyone that lives nearby or can live here can establish an actual colony rather than a nomadic tribe, which just means a city can be produced here by the people that live here, aka the lycanthropes. You, Alpani, inadvertently helped out twice. 2 times. Not that you know that, but I'm just letting you know that. Good on you.
Hey, Huntsman, thanks for the heads up on plant growth when I created this character.
It's a good spell.
It really
Yeah,
is.
it is.
I've been helping out with a lot of stuff with it.
It's like up there for my favorite spells in the game, period. Just hard stop.
Mm-hmm. A lot of farmers really like Alpani. Various mothers have asked if they're single so they can set them up with their kids. That's beside the point. More than likely, Alpani politely declines.
Yeah, she's got her eyes already set on her prize.
I don't like how that sounds at all.
I don't either.
Oh, don't worry. You two are safe. She's after Yoko. That was I'm joking.
Was it the blades? Is it the blade collecting? I can see that. Everyone goes through a collecting phase. I'm just making jokes. I know. The spirit does thank you once again after you do wake up. There's a whole bunch of animals around you, not to attack you, more like to keep watch. After all, she did keep and house you guys here. The least she can do is make sure you don't get attacked in the middle of the night.
Well, I mean, they can't make it through the dome.
I mean, true, but that doesn't mean they couldn't try.
Not true.
But no one did. She does thank you once again and does state, you will have safe passage through this forest. Not that I believe anything would attack you, but many animals do get hungry. But for now, I have stated that you should not be attacked for the next 8 hours. Which just basically means nightfall. You're fine until nightfall. Then, animals gotta eat.
Animals gotta be animals.
She does bow and graciously can now actually leave the area, no longer needing to be bound to the ley line here.
Because of Pawnee.
Yeah, Ruinark in my chat did make a good point. Humans are animals too.
Yeah.
Animals gotta eat. which was why she's mainly fine with you guys. If you have to take what you need, take what you need. That being said, though, you guys do travel back to town, and it is on fire because the small little festival is happening. Outside of that, no one has destroyed anything.
Yet.
It's just the beginning of the harvest season.
It's the Harvest Festival. Woohoo!
More or less. After returning, the night owls do enter inside after, making plans to contact you, blah, blah, blah. She does state, well, based off of the information, by the way, thank you for the noted information on the passageway. Thankfully enough, the owlbear family has been able to get to their home without issue or warrant, and we did make sure that they went to a good home. Rest assured. That being the case, though, it does seem that there are problems with your kingdom. At the very least, with the people that escaped your kingdom not that long ago. She does give you documents, but she does give you the rundown. The former nobles did establish some connections in the past with your father. It does seem that they spoke with various people to the north on passageways you likely wouldn't be aware of unless you had this information. They have been using these paths constructed by your predecessor to have exported goods from what it appears to be the Patriarch be run through by the sold boats of Rev and Rev, removed their markings, but left the E and small e to have people infer to their backing. We, from what is estimated, can tell that there are a variety of things being transported through there. In fact, it is not just the Patriarch, but the Matriarch that is also using this cover, but they are using this cover for alternative means. The Patriarch themselves are sending cash weapons into the southern kingdom, as well as these warforges. While the Matriarch is using the cover story of the Patriarch's own boat system routes to send in, I don't know what else to call them, but the lower ring further south. They are using a company known as Ironheart Corporation to do this endeavor without the express signature of the Matriarch. Based off of what we have seen, this is to be the case of what is inside your boats. Or the boats, rather, that you are investigating. I hope that proved fruitful for you.
Would you happen to have been able to map these routes?
Unfortunately, many of them are underground, and well, that would show our hand to the drow themselves, but I can direct you towards an area where, puts up air quotes, one would be. And she draws a circle where one, air quotes, is, quite literally is. If they go through that passageway, the drow would immediately know that they are there and would indicate, oh, we are being investigated or looked on, and things could be dangerous on their end, and they weren't willing to take that danger. But they've marked down where the passageway would go through your kingdom, and it is quite literally through your kingdom. the circle that they've marked is not on your borderline. It is on the opposite end borderline of Luminera, which suggests that, you know, your dad also broke border laws by making a passageway through a different kingdom.
Why am I not surprised? Right, because he was a scumbag. This is very troublesome.
She does nod. Very much so. But if there is nothing else... After 5 seconds, since no one says anything, she, like, bows and, like, heads out.
Thank you.
But yeah, you guys have the information. You guys know what's being transported through the ships now. You also know that the matriarch is using this as a cover to get the lowest caste ring, their people, into the neighboring kingdom to the south of you. You don't know why. That is kind of weird, but it is more information than you had. The honeybees to the south did state that a few boats did get into the harbor area, and a few others were blocked, but soon will be transported out since they have proper paperwork. They can only hold them for so long, which does suggest that what the Night Owl stated is true. That the matriarch is using whatever the patriarch's doing to get these people out of the kingdom. You don't know for what reason, but they are doing this. But they don't seem to be working together. I'm going to say you're all there, just to make this easier.
Aster, maybe it's an idea to reach out to the queen, to the matriarch, to see if they're trying to protect their people, at the very least.
I harbor no trust for the matriarch. I don't want to overplay my hand with her. No, I think a much more quiet method is necessary here.
Well, I didn't mean to go walking up to her door.
I mean, I do have a business relationship with her.
You've a number of business associates, I'm sure, yes? From your life as a captain.
Plenty.
Let it be spread in hushed tones that there is a monetary reward for any who brings back a map of those passages.
So many people are going to die.
I will. Layla. Mine.
That reward may be monetary, or it may be a pardon.
So many people are going to die. People
I
are
don't care.
stupid.
Most of them are going to be pirates. I don't.
Yeah. For sure, a lot of them are going to be thieves.
The ones that I'm going to send that word to, yeah. I mean, I have good business partners and I have bad business partners.
Yeah. I'm not saying that the first people that are likely going to die are inexperienced, likely trying to make money, trying to pardon themselves from a, very potential dangerous crime and things of that nature. People are for sure going to die.
For something like this, I would only spread it to the well-known ones, like the not well-known, the ones I know that are good at their job.
Okay, they'll have a chance. I'll give them a bonus because I do need to roll for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Layla does suggest perhaps actually having a meeting, not person to person, but perhaps a round way of meeting. Perhaps speaking with prior negotiations, or perhaps having a nice tea and seeing what went wrong with the former connections between your two houses. Formerly, Fail was supposed to be marrying the son of the matriarch, and that broke down, and maybe you can figure out why. At least that's a good enough color story to have a meeting with them. But, we'll figure out the actual plan next time. Because, let's face it, more than likely, while you try to cross the border, or at the very least, try to speak with guards that aren't from your kingdom, I feel like there's going to be a fight happening there. I don't know why, but I have the utmost confidence that there will be. We'll figure out if that's true. Next
Didn't
time.
you think there was going to be a fight
With the
when
lichen?
when we talked with the lycanthropes?
I just feared there would be. Let's see if I'm wrong again. Next time, as we end the session for today.